Hello, Amanda. I want to play a game.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. As you can see from the title, today's video is going to be my full review with spoilers of The Crow. Now, as always, all my reviews are with spoilers. If you don't want them just to see if this was worth it or not, in the description box down below, there you're going to find my spoiler for review because I like to give you guys the two options. Given that quick disclaimer, let's get into the video. Now, The Crow follows soulmates Eric and Shelley are brutally murdered. Given a chance to save the love of his life, Eric must sacrifice himself and traverse the worlds of the living and the dead, seeking revenge. The film has a running time of 1 hour and 51 minutes, and to give a brief summary, the film opens with a young Eric seeing his horse being injured and his mom is on this house-type trailer drunk in a bed or a couch. I didn't really pick up what it was, but we see that quickly. And then we jump to the present where we see Shelley. She is having a conversation with a friend and she's in trouble for a video. We don't see the content of the video until later on in the movie, but she's in trouble. She goes to see her friend, but on her way, her friend is killed. She has no idea of this, but her friend is killed. And when she's on her way, she gets arrested because of drug possessions. So she gets into rehab. When she's in rehab, she meets Eric. They see each other for the first time when she's entering the facilities and he is in his room, and it's like love at first sight. I don't know how much time they were like doing little interactions until they finally talked to each other, but he did some drawings of her and we see that she has some interest in him. But being completely honest, I don't know how much time it passes. But they finally had the first interaction. They talk a little bit, then they talk again. But when they are talking, they are in his room. And they hear that she has a visit. When they go to see is her mom and a woman that appears at the beginning and is one of the responsibles for her friend's death. And she knows that she's in trouble with those people, so she tells Eric and they decide to escape the rehab facility. They go back to the city, they get into her apartment, they have their first kiss and they do it. Then they start getting drunk and doing drugs and having a good time. We see them having a good time with her friends, doing music, bonfire, being on the outdoors, swimming, all of that. Until one day they are on a club and one of her friends appears and tells her that she needs to leave the city because they have found her. She tells Eric like, we need to leave, but she hasn't explained to him anything about it. She never tells him. And when they get to his apartment, people are already there. So they both get killed. We see Eric, he wakes up in this warehouse type place and there are little crows and a man that tells him that there's this legend that some people believe that when someone dies, the crows are the ones that lead them. But if something really bad happened, they get the chance. And you know what I'm talking about. That is how the original film opens, that phrase. So he returns back to life. And he's confused, he doesn't really know what is happening, but he realizes that his wounds now heal, but Shelley is dead. He realizes that he needs to seek revenge, but we see that he's not confident in not only himself, but in the whole situation and his new abilities. And he struggles a lot, he starts running around in the city. He gets into some fights and this is when he sees that he heals and he starts looking for the people that are responsible. He even gets in the car with them, but they push him out of it and he gets crashed by a truck, but of course he's fine because nothing is going to happen to him. And during these moments, he eventually finds the video that put Shelley in trouble at first. And this is when we learn that she is correlated to this man, that he has a deal with the devil, that he's going to bring souls to hell in order for him to be alive. On the video is that he possesses Shelley and Shelley kills another woman and she has no idea of what she did until she sees the video that has been sent to her. And that's why they are in trouble, because that thing cannot come out, because if not, the man gets in trouble. And now that Eric sees this, he starts doubting about his love with Shelley. And because of this, when he gets injured again, he returns to the warehouse with the man and the crows. And he tells to Eric that because he started doubting and love is the most important part of it in his abilities, he no longer has them and he's dead. And this is when Eric decides to do this deal. He's going to give his life and his soul for Shelley's. And they do the deal, and this is when he fully transforms into the crow. And now he looks more confident in his abilities and more decided into what he has to do. And he puts on the jacket, he puts on the makeup that is not really makeup, it's the ink that is used for tattoos. That's what he puts on the eyes, and it runs here to the mouth, and that's what it makes it look a little bit like the Joker. Just a little bit. And then he goes to an opera. He kills the security. He kills the woman that we see at the beginning that was responsible for this mess. And then he ends at the house. Villain of the film, essentially. He brings him to the warehouse with him, and he gets dragged into hell. And then the deal has been done. Shelley returns to life. They see each other for a brief moment. They say their goodbye. Shelley wakes up. She knows, of course, everything that has happened. It's not like she wakes up and doesn't know what happened. And the film ends with Eric doing this narration saying that he hopes that their souls are going to meet again sometime, and that he knows that their love is going to survive and live throughout her art, because she here is a musician. And that's how the film ends. Now, getting into the review. If you have read the comic or if you have watched the original film, by that summary, you probably realize that there are a lot of changes. Now, I have never read the comic, so for me, it's hard to pick up every single detail that is different from the comic, but of course, it's easier for me to pick the things that are different from the first movie. But this is not a remake. This has been called a reboot, but also a new adaptation of the comic, but it's not a remake, and there's a difference between those three. So we're gonna call it a soft reboot slash new adaptation of the comic. Oh boy, this was an experience. I still remember when I watched the trailer and I did my trailer reaction, I wanted to be as open-minded as possible. I wanted to give this new version a chance. Maybe they were going to bring something different but worth watching, but that wasn't the case. I want to start by saying that the film and the story lacks direction. There's so many details that are put into the story and the film that by the end of it, they didn't matter. There's a character of this female musician from Vienna. She appears a few times in the movie. What was her purpose? I still don't know. I don't know if her scenes were cut out or what happened in post-production, but she didn't matter. I never understood her point because they're making it seem like she's going to be important, but I didn't saw that. I don't know if I missed something. I don't think I did. But there was something. Second, the villain. Why are you bringing this character? I check, and as far as I know, this is not a character that is on the comics. Maybe I am wrong. Once again, I would love for people that have read the comics, let me on the comments the details that you saw that were different, because I would really like to know specifically what things were different besides from the obvious. Because for example, I don't know if this character is part of the comic, but as far as I check, it wasn't. So why bring in this supernatural part of it? Because of course, the story has supernatural elements when it comes to the crow and the legend and bringing back him to life. But I am meaning this thing of having someone that has done a deal with the devil and is doing this thing with the souls for what? Only purpose that I found to this subplot is what triggers the deaths of them. But still, nonsense. I didn't saw the whole point of it because for me it was nonsense. The film has a lot of nonsense moments. The second thing, the script. I have read so many romance books and you're probably thinking what the hell has to do with this, but I want to explain. The film tries a little bit too hard to focus on the love story of Shelley and Eric. I didn't buy it. For me, they lack chemistry. It lacked that pure love and that pain that we see on the original film, because we don't even see the relationship. We see fragments of it by flashbacks, and we can not only see but we feel the pain that he's going through, because he lost the love of his life, his future bride, his fiance, the woman that he was sharing his life with. Here we have a couple that they meet on rehab and they fall in love like this. Once again, I don't know how much time passed, but for me it didn't look that much. And we have a couple that, you may be thinking, why the hell I mentioned the romance books things. These are the type of couples that when you read about them, they can work in books, but you need a little bit more development. But on the screen, they just don't work, because these are the type of couples that they light up in flames and they burn. They're not going to last. For me, it wasn't believable, that whole deal of them being in rehab, him. I didn't understood why they did this. Why make him look like a sad e-boy that is broken? Because she says that to him. She says to him, you look like something broken. That's why I have an issue with the script. The lines, the way not only that they are delivered, but what they are saying, it's cringe. It works on paper. Once again, I have read plenty of romance books. I have read about this type of couples before. I have read plenty of these phrases and paragraphs and everything about love and them being broken and maybe not being right to each other, but that they work and their love is not understood by the outsiders. Once again, it works on paper, but when you watch it on the screen, it doesn't work. I have seen plenty of book adaptations. It never works. It never works. I don't know why, but it just never works. So here, if this was a romance book, I would have probably loved it. But as a movie, hell no. I didn't understand why they did that. Seriously, making her being this rich girl that has gone against her mother. And yes, I understand that she has been forced to do these things with him and like the devil stuff, but at the same time, why her subplot? Why her background? It didn't make sense. It didn't did a difference in the story. They could have just kept it as it was originally. It could have been way better. Because I understand that they were trying to make us understand a little bit more and like connect a little bit more with the love story. They fail on that. Because once again, I didn't feel that chemistry, that love. For me, once again, it was that type of love that is going to last a week, because they are going to turn toxic. And when I see the original film, I can feel that love. We see those happy moments. We see that they are in love with each other. That's what I was expecting, but I didn't see it. I am sad mostly for Bill, because he is a great actor. I really like his work. But here, I don't know what happened. The blame goes to the direction and the script. There was no way to save it. And you can really see that he's trying his best to make this work. But it doesn't. Once again, for me, it makes no sense not only changing or adding to his backstory, but making him like this. He's not even a musician. I was waiting to see him at least with a guitar. We never get that. Which brings me to another point. The soundtrack. Something that makes for me The Crow from the 90s good is the soundtrack. And I think that a lot of people can agree that one of the things that is not only the most recognizable thing about it, but what makes it iconic to a point is the soundtrack. So good. Having those scenes of him with the guitar, the way that the music and those songs, they fit perfectly with the story and those scenes. Here, I don't know what happened. There's a sequence where he is killing the guards when he's at the opera. We hear the opera, and I don't know if the whole purpose of the scene was to make it a comical, having that funny moment. No, for me, The Crow is not funny. For me, it has to be 100% serious. For me, those funny moments, they don't fit on the story. And I don't know if that was their purpose, but it wasn't a good idea. Something that I also want to mention is that the film looks cheap when it comes to the blood and when it comes to the wounds, and there's a lack of practical effects. For me, at least, all the wounds and all the blood look CGI. I am sure that they use, of course, some blood for the makeup and stuff, but for the most part, it looks so damn fake that makes the film look cheap. This is something that is a personal thing, but when it comes, although this film is not horror, I should have started for that. This film is not horror at all. The Crow from the 90s has horror elements. Here is supernatural at best, but it's not horror. But when it comes to horror movies specifically, I don't like watching the wounds and the blood when it's CGI, because for me it takes away the whole part of being realistic. And here, once again, this is not horror, but the point remains the same. What else can I say? I never understood why they changed the physical aspect. For a moment I thought that this was going to be a similar situation to the Joker of Jared Leto, where they were using another version of him in the comics. That's what I read originally when I did the trailer reaction, and I got eaten in the comments by that. My mistake, I am sorry, I just read that, I didn't confirm, but I did that after. I didn't find any version of him that had the tattoos and another makeup that wasn't what we saw on the film from the 90s. So I don't know why they decided to do that. I read someone that said that this one looked like a mix of John Wick with the Joker. I'm gonna have to agree, and it doesn't help the fact that Bill appears on John Wick 4, where his character loved it. He did a very good job there. Once again, I don't know what happened here. I was expecting so much from him, but at the end, it's not his fault if that's what the studio wanted, if that was the script that was given. Now, he did said on an interview that they were planning for a sequel. That's why the ending is different from the original, because he doesn't really die. We don't see him on the grave or stuff. We see him as the Crow walking on the warehouse. So he's dead, but at the same time, he's still the Crow. And he said on an interview that they left that there for a possible sequel. But I don't see a sequel happening. Or if they do, they need a lot to change. We didn't have the Devil's Night, didn't have nothing. The film, I am assuming that it's New York, because it looked like New York, although it wasn't filmed in New York. But it's the vibes that gave me the setting. But I really like the setting of Devil's Night in Detroit and that whole atmosphere that lacks this version. I felt that this was way too modern for the story, because once again, this is supposed to be gothic. There's nothing gothic about it. Not the outfit, the makeup, the music. The music is one of the most crucial parts of it. It didn't fit at all. Is there something positive about this film? I'm gonna have to say that no. Did I enjoy the film? Unfortunately, no. Do I recommend it? No. Is this one the worst of the year? No. I still believe that Tarot is the worst one. That was criminal. But this one, I really tried. I don't want to be harsh on it. I don't think I am being harsh, because I don't like doing like rants. I don't want this to feel like a rant. Maybe it is. If I do apologize if it feels like a rant, but I really try to always look for something positive, but there's not. Not even the costumes. He is shirtless for the majority of it. We don't even see him in his full Crow aspect costume until the third act, because the first part of the movie he is in Pepto-Bismol sweats and sweatshirt because that is the uniform of the rehab place, and then we see him with baggy clothes that look like streetwear, and then he's shirtless with some black pants and some Vans, and then at last is that we see him with this jacket and he's shirtless, showing all the tattoos and the same pants and the same shoes, and then the makeup that is tattoo ink. That was something that also caught me off guard because I was waiting a similar scene to what we got on the original film of the makeup, the rain. We have rain moments, but they didn't hit the same. Because once again, since it lacks the whole dark atmosphere, it didn't feel the same. For me, this one didn't even feel like the Crow movie. I just felt that I was watching an emo Joker getting revenge because his girlfriend got killed. And he got killed also. I really tried. I really tried. But unfortunately, this wasn't it. Now, for me, this film is a 1 out of 5 and a 4 out of 10. Once again, for me, it's not the worst one of the year, but it's going to be on the top 5 worst once the year ends. Once again, this is not horror. I decided to review it because I do consider The Crow from the 90s horror adjacent, although it's gothic supernatural. And here is definitely supernatural superhero movie, but I still wanted to review it just in case that you're thinking, why the hell are you reviewing this if it's not horror? Well, now you know. Now, The Crow is in theaters, but maybe you're gonna wanna wait until it hits video on demand to watch it if you ever decide to do it and give this one a chance. But with this, I end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below your thoughts. Once again, if you read the comic, I want to know which things were different. Like, of course, besides the obvious things, maybe I know that there were characters that weren't here, that they were on the original film. I know that there are a lot of details that were changed from the story, but other things, maybe small details that you realized that it's like, no, they definitely changes. So let me know down below your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Game over.